Hi, everybody. David Noor. I want to welcome you to another live stream podcast, Inner Circle, focused on really doubling down on some of your most valuable, your most prized possessions. This is episode 7, focused on how do you invite others to join your inner circle. If you're new to our series or you haven't had a chance to listen to all the previous ones, I am writing the next book called Inner Circle. It typically takes me about 4 years for my ideas to percolate. At some point, you've read enough, you've talked enough, you've consulted, coached. We're building this now into our AI platform. So you've been around the topic long enough that you feel like you have something to say. And I've got a process. The physical writing of the book process takes me about 6 months, but it's just a really good chance to consolidate, coalesce your thinking, your interviews, your discussions with very broad base of clients and executives and relationships. So if you haven't had a chance to look through this, episode 1, I really defined the inner circle, and I have my notes here, as a curated group of high valued relationships that do 4 things: inspire, challenge, elevate, and amplify what? Your personal and professional growth. Make no mistake about it. The day you stop learning and growing is the day you become complacent and no longer valuable to your biggest asset, which is your portfolio of relationships. So how do they do that? Through mutual trust, measurable collaboration, and shared success. So episode 1 of this podcast live stream, I went through and I broke that down into 10 unique components, pieces, and I described each of them. Episode 2, 10 attributes of an inner circle, almost like a scorecard. If you're building this personal board of advisors, if you're going to curate a group of your most valuable relationships, what should you be looking for? Episode 3, 10 steps to actually create one. How do you, and this episode will piggyback on that nicely. So how do you create one? Episode 4, 5 best practices to become a member of someone else's inner circle. So what I'm doing is setting the foundation of what is it, why does it matter, how do I start, where do I begin, hopefully closing the gap between what you think you know about this idea of a personal board of advisors and what you need to know about how to do this effectively. Episode 5 was rules of engagement. Once you're in, what are the rules of engagement and being in someone else's inner circle? Last episode 6, I had a guest. Cheryl Cook is on the Avnir Advisory Board. She is the former SVP of Global Partner Marketing at Dell Technologies. Unbelievable executive. And she shared her lens, her perspective on how do you help partners win. And if that inner circle of yours includes some channel partners, it has to be a win-win. So in this episode, I've been blessed. Some of you may know we launched Avnir about a year ago. We've bootstrapped it through angel funding, and we're very much in the pre-seed stage. I'm out getting a meeting with venture capital firms and to talk about our seed round. And you're looking always for the best partner, financial partner, to help fuel your growth. And you want to do that at the best market rates, right? So having done it 20, 30 years ago, you kind of get rusty. So I thought, who could be instrumental in that guidance, in that stewardship? And I'm blessed that, through Randy Suttle, I got introduced to Peter Bell at Amity Ventures, and he's agreed to join our advisory board and kind of help guide this direction. But it's not just a transaction. It's not just an event. I want to nurture a deeper relationship with Peter and ensure he becomes a critical member of my inner circle. The guy's done 300 plus seed investments. He'll forget more in 5 minutes about seed investments than I'll learn over the next year. So how do you accelerate, again, your personal professional growth? How do you amplify it? I deeply believe in this idea of inner circles helping you do that. So how do you invite others? And that's really the focus of this episode, to join yours. So if you know me, if you know anything about my content, I'm a list maker. I've got 10 points that I want you to think about and how you would go about inviting others. I would encourage you, if you haven't had a chance, forum Avneer.com is our private online community. There's an inner circle group. All the episode notes, these nuggets I share in there. I would encourage you, wherever you consume podcasts, whether you're watching this on LinkedIn, YouTube, or X, or if you listen to it, or listen to the content later, come join us in this private online community, and you can get access to all these lists. So here we go. How to invite 10 steps, 10 ideas, 10 perspectives, how to invite a trusted relationship to join your inner circle. Number one, you have to have glaring clarity of your purpose. I've always said people don't build relationships because they're bored. Relationships are an enabler. They're a rocket boosters attached to your shuttle to get you into outer space. So if you've got glaring clarity of your purpose, you've defined where you're trying to get to, what I call your journey from now to next. You've defined the skill sets, the knowledge, the behaviors you need to surround yourself with, and you're crystal clear on what is it that you want these individuals to contribute in your inner circle. Then you can articulate a mutual value and shared goals that the relationship will support. So if you believe my assertion that relationships are an enabler, they're the wraparound, right? You better get crystal clear on where you are, your current state, where you are today, where you are now, your future state. This is where I want to get to. This is more than a vision. This is more than a path to get there. This is literally my journey from now to next. And how do I, right? Who do I need? What kind of skills, knowledge, behaviors? How do I articulate? It cannot be a one-way street unless you're paying that person, unless there's some other arrangement. If truly amazing inner circles I've met are reciprocal in value. So what is that mutual value and a shared goal that will help you, that the relationship can support, that will help get you there? Again, I'm going to keep going back to the definition. A curated group of high-valued relationships that inspire, challenge, elevate, amplify. Inspire, challenge, elevate, amplify your personal and professional growth through mutual trust, measured collaboration, and shared success. So before you have a conversation with anybody about, hey, I'm building this inner circle, I heard this guy talk about it, I read this book, right? Would you be interested? Look in the mirror, get clarity on, here's my journey from now to next. Here are the skills, capabilities, knowledge, wisdom. We'll talk about this personality that I want to surround myself with. Who's gonna, that's a really valued real estate. Who's gonna be invaluable in that seat that is gonna do those things, that's gonna challenge my assumptions, that's gonna amplify, that's gonna elevate, that's gonna inspire me to kind of go do bigger, go be bigger, go think bigger, right? So clarifying with glaring clarity on your purpose becomes number one. That's, again, we're building foundation. Two, you need to express authentic, genuine, heartfelt gratitude. People are busy. People are pulled in a lot of different directions. There's a lot of demand, especially if they have a specialized skill or knowledge or a set of expertise. Why you? Why now? Why would I want to join your inner circle? So I'm a huge believer of gratitude, but it has to be real. It has to be authentic. It has to be authentically you, because most people have a BS radar. And if it isn't, hey, dude, just want to say thanks, they'll see right through that. And you're going to get the Heisman, right? You're going to get, they may not come out and say it, but they stop returning calls and emails. They stop prioritizing you. They no longer have time. They reschedule your meetings. Those are all symptoms of a deteriorating or decayed or cobwebs or rust on that relationship. So when you acknowledge their contribution, qualities, and the trust you've built together, it reinforces your genuine appreciation, your authentic gratitude for not just what they do, but who they are. Again, I'm going to keep bringing up Peter or Randy Seidel or Cheryl or Paolo Dobell or Bill Walsh or Phil Oswald. I've known for 20 plus years. Bob McIntosh and I went to graduate school together 25 years ago. These are all advisory board members that I'm, and part of my inner circle, that I'm genuinely grateful for. So it highlight, and when you can highlight specific instances where they've positively impacted your life or your work. Hey, do you remember that situation or that scenario or that time we spent, or when I was struggling with that, you were exactly the relationship I needed at that point. And I'm grateful. I'll never forget that, right? So just make sure it's authentic. Make sure it's real. Make sure, do not make it up. It needs to be 100% true. And it will come through in the way you show up. So one, glaring clarity, glaring clearness on your purpose. Two, express authentic, genuine appreciation. Three, communicate the intent. I also have always believed in clarity of intent. So you need to have an authentic conversation about the deeper connection you envision. I would submit that relationships go bad with misaligned expectations. I expected this, you delivered this, the gap is where we have a problem. To avoid that, you want to recalibrate. You want to realign expectations early and often. So I have a very open, very real conversation of, look, we've known of each other, we've worked together, we've been on the cursory or adjacency, right? I'm looking for us to talk once a week, or don't out where you're welcome. Hey, what would be the right cadence for us to touch base? How often? And I point blank ask people, I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to run ideas. Can we discuss this issue or that challenge or this person or that opportunity? And how do I do that without outwearing my welcome? So ask people, what's the right cadence? What would you be comfortable with? And of course, they're going to come back with, what do you need? And that's not the time to go, I don't know. No, you've thought about it. Hey, I'm busy. You're busy. To really make this impactful, could we talk once every 6 weeks? Do you need to talk every day? Probably not. Do you need to, I don't know, maybe the situation calls for it. You need to talk every week? I'm not sure. We all have other things going on. Once a month, once every 6 weeks, right? I think that's a really good cadence to interact with the inner circle. It might be a lot more often than that. It just depends on the situation, but you need to have that really open and authentic conversation that it's not just the activity. I envision a deeper, I envision a more meaningful connection between us, and just make sure that expectations are aligned and they're interested in the same. You also want to share how their involvement aligns directly with your vision for your inner circle. Look, I'm getting no more than 5, no more than 8 or 10 people together. These are some of my most trusted relationships. And here's what I'm taking this department, this function, this company. You bring this unique skill, knowledge, behavior, asset, expertise, depth. Love for you to kind of come be a part of this. And in return, let me know, what can I do to support you? How can I, mutual value, right? How can I be an asset to you? How can I support you? By the way, I think you would really appreciate, especially if your inner circle comes from different parts of your life, I think you would really appreciate getting to know each other, because Bob McIntosh here in Atlanta has never met Bill Walsh in Boston. Or Phil Oswald may have not met Eric McCarthy, and they're both here in town. Different parts of my life, different. Another reason that relational diversity, the cognitive diversity, the different buckets, your ecosystem. The more diverse your buckets or your relationships, the broader your influence footprint. So if they also benefit from not just your vision, that journey from now to next, but other members around that table, they're going to learn. If they're going to expand their purview, get a new lens or perspective on something from others, now that becomes more interesting, more valuable to them. So we're talking about how to invite a trusted relationship to join your inner circle. As a reminder, I keep going back to the definition of an inner circle: a curated group of high-value relationships that inspire. We all need that. Now, motivation is intrinsic. That has to come from within me, but inspiration is external. So you want this inner circle to inspire you. You want them to challenge you. You want them to elevate and amplify your personal and professional growth through mutual trust, measurable collaboration, and shared success, right? So how do you invite others into this fold with you? One, glaring clarity of purpose. Really be intentional about, here's where I'm going, here's how I'm going to get there, here's the knowledge, skills, behaviors, personalities I need around me. Two, express genuine, authentic appreciation. Three, communicate your intent. That clarity of intent becomes really valuable. Four, set expectations. You remember I said relationships go bad with misaligned expectations? Set, recalibrate expectations. So outline what being part of your inner circle entails. Is it mutual support? Is it trust? Is it collaboration? Is it, right? The cadence I just talked about. Be clear about the level of engagement and the commitment that's expected. You don't want somebody 6 months or a year down the road where you either feel like you're chasing them or they're just not showing up. They got other things going on. I get it. People's lives change. And at some point, if it no longer fits, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the next episode. You're not going to want to miss signs that trusted relationship is no longer a good fit for your inner circle. So we'll talk about that. But if you set the right expectations, if you align, if you recalibrate expectations, you have a less of a chance of it's going sideways. 5, emphasize mutual benefit. Yeah, the advisory board has equity in the company. By the same token, you want to outline what being part of your inner circle, how is that relationship is going to be reciprocal? How will it offer value to both parties? Because if it's just one direction, they feel like all they're doing is giving. You remember relationship givers, takers, and investors? You don't want to just be you don't want them to just purely give because they're busy. There's a demand of their time and skills, knowledge, behaviors. You certainly don't want to be a taker. So the best relationship between you and your inner circle is one of relationship investors. They invest time, effort, resources. You likewise invest ways to be an asset to them. You got to reinforce that the inner circle is about shared growth and success. This is, they're your sounding board. They're your personal board of advisors. By the same token, I'm always asking, what can I do to help you? How can I be an asset to you? Tell me personally, professionally. I may not be able to do it. I may know someone that can do it. Can I somehow elevate or accelerate your time to impact, your results, whatever you may be looking for? And by the way, the more seasoned they become, the more increasingly they don't want to be a burden to anybody. They've already accomplished their success. Maybe the opportunity is they want to create a significance. Maybe they've got a foundation or they're involved with a nonprofit or there's something that's pulling at their hearts that they really could use your help with. That's where the mutual benefit could come from. They bring potentially their business acumen. They bring their relationships. They bring their insights. And you're really focused on helping them raise the bar on a nonprofit or on a philanthropic or something for their kids, potentially grandkids that they're interested in, right? Their kid needs an internship. Their grandkids trying to apply to this, your alma mater school, and right, can you help them figure out how to navigate that environment? But you got to create mutual benefit. The only way I know how to do that is ask, what can I do to help you? How can I support you? How can I be of value to you? 6, invite outcome-based collaboration. I've always said collaboration for sake of collaboration is a waste of time. Collaboration to make the end result stronger is invaluable. So encourage their input on how the relationship can evolve to meet both of your needs. Listen, the last 3 meetings, you've been unbelievable. You've been really helpful. You've helped me tremendously, but I can't help but feel like I'm taking and not contributing back as much. There's 3 fundamental laws in every business relationship. 1, gratitude. Somebody does something for us, we should say thank you. 2, reciprocity. Maybe not today, tomorrow, next week, or month after that, but you better at some point reciprocate. Last but not least is pay it forward. I do something for you, I need to see you doing that for somebody else, because none of us are an island. So when you invite people to outcome-based collaboration, you encourage that their input on how can this relationship evolve to meet both of our needs? How can I offer you, and you know, one of the books I've written is called Co-Create. I think there's opportunities to co-create or work on shared goals as a starting point. Hey, I'm happy to be a sounding board for you. I'm happy to, this AI world we're living in changes daily. I'm learning something every single day. And some of these more seasoned executives that I'm working with, they bring unbelievable wisdom in their respective roles or functions, but AI is new for many of us. So we're all learning. So I'm always sharing articles or perspectives, or I read this, or I'm going to this event. Do you want to go with? And you want to make sure that that collaboration is outcome based. Here's what I'm trying to get to. Would love your help as a sounding board. Would love, I need you more hands-on. Right? Can you go with me? Does it make sense for you to go with me on that meeting or that conversation or that event? But just bring him into the tent, ensure that there's opportunities to co-create, opportunities to collaborate based on a shared goal, based on a common vision, based on a direction that we're trying to go. 7, provide reassurance. And by that, I mean, you want to make sure that you emphasize the safe, trustworthy nature of the circle where openness is valued. I often say what we talk about stays between us. What we talk about is, stays here. Because you have to create an environment. And again, I love Amy Edmondson's work on this around psychological safety and the fearless organization and intelligent failure. You want to create an environment where people feel safe, that I can say something without the perception that it's going to dilute my brand or credibility or the relationship with others. And so just make sure that you emphasize that, you heighten that. Reassure them that their involvement will be respected and appreciated. I've always believed a certain dose of respectful pushback is healthy. I like dialogue. I like dissent. I like civil discourse. I like beating up an idea, never a person. We never attack. That's the dumbest idea I've ever heard. We never attack the individual. I'm challenging assumptions and assertions just like I want them to challenge mine. That's interesting. Where did that come from? Or how did you get there? Or I don't quite get the connection. Can you help me understand why is that important or where we're going with that? So when you reassure them that they're just being there, their comments, their perspective, their lens, things that they're passionate about is respected. We may not agree, but I respect where you're coming from. I appreciate your perspective. I appreciate your lens. Right? And I want to make sure that the outcome is better. I got to tell you, our team internally does a daily stand-up. So every morning, 8:30 a.m., we get together. What did you accomplish last 24 hours? What are you doing next 24 hours? Any blockers? And more recently, we've started to incorporate these a question pool of random questions that gives us a chance to get to know each other better and really hopefully build a deeper, stronger culture. And someone described me. So the question was, what behavioral characteristic did you see in someone, or in our Avenir team that stood out as exemplary? And someone said this about me: strong opinions, weakly held. So as an attribute, as a trait that said, hey, deeply believes in this role, deeply believes in this perspective, this lens, this point of view, but not dogmatic about it, right? Open to a changing perspective, lens, right? So I'm a big believer of stand for something, believe in something, be able to defend your position, not just regurgitate it, but also open to different lenses, different perspectives. I told the team, I'm dating myself, but back in the high school, I belonged to a debate club. And one of the things that this fabulous teacher made us do was, if you take a position, you need to be able to debate and defend both for and against it. So you had to, by definition, look at different lenses of the exact same situation. So when you provide reassurance, you're really emphasizing that what we talk about stays here. This is a safe environment. It's protected. We're never going to attack the individuals. We're going to challenge their assumptions and assertions. 8, give them time to reflect. This is really important. When you create that space, that runway, I call it, for people to consider the invitation without pressure, right? I don't want to put a spotlight on them of, hey, are you in? Are you in? What's your availability? Are you available this afternoon? Because I want to, dude, just give me a chance to think about it. And you encourage them to ask questions or discuss any concerns. Again, one of my favorite phrases, any yellow or red flags. Yellow is caution, red is stop. If you don't know what those are from people you're interacting with, you're flying blindly. You're going to go down this road thinking, yep, we're all on the same page, and you haven't bothered to ask any concerns in us working together, any concerns of you joining our inner circle, because we'd love to get to know you better, work closely together towards this mission or vision or direction. But I want to both give them the runway to consider that invitation without pressure and be open to ask questions. I may introduce them to other inner circle members, but give them that time to reflect. Give them that time to say, hey, is this a good use of, because everybody's thinking that, is this a good use of my time, my bandwidth, my relationships, my resources? Is this something that I want to lend my name, my brand to? Those are all really, really important. 9, start small and build. You do not need a 75-person inner circle. Start with 2, start with 3, start with 5. But if you begin by deepening some of the existing connections, specifically through consistent, meaningful, we call it touch cadence, those interactions, you now figure out the dynamics. Every group, every relational ecosystem has a rhythm. Get your finger on the pulse of that rhythm and gradually integrate them into a more prominent role within the circle. Start slowly inviting other people in. I didn't build an advisory board with 20 people day one. Hey, here's 2-3 people. Hey, I know you, I like you, trust you, respect you. I want to build this. I want you to be the sounding board for finance or legal or operations or revenue or technology or other parts of what we're trying to build. So gradually integrating them into these conversations, bringing them together. We do our relationship economics summit every fall, inviting them to that so they meet other executives. I love doing that. And it becomes a huge opportunity to introduce very different parts of your life and work to each other. 10, show gratitude for their commitment. So I said earlier to express your genuine appreciation for the qualities, for the trust you've built together. This is thank them sincerely for accepting the invite, right? And the willingness to invest in the relationship. And you want to reinforce that excitement. I'm telling you, energy goes a long way in your work together through this kind of trusted partnership. So I can't tell you how much gratitude fills most of our cups. Now, I can't pay my mortgage with gratitude. I can't grow and scale this business with gratitude alone. But at an individual level, at a relational level, we all, I've always said, as human beings, we need three things. We want to be loved. We want a sense of belonging, and we need a purpose. So if you translate that into our professional lives, right? The love is gratitude. The love is appreciation. The love is, I'm so glad you're here, and mean it. The belonging is a team, that inner circle, that I'm part of something. And the purpose is my work, my input matters. It's a enabler of some sort of outcome. It's that outcome-based collaboration, that my contribution wasn't in an echo chamber or wasn't in some island. It matters. So if you've joined us late, this episode 7 has been focused on inviting others to your inner circle, how to invite trusted relationships to join your inner circle. Just a quick recap. I covered 10 kind of lenses, 10 things to think about. One, glaring clarity of purpose. You got to be so focused on defining your journey from now to next, and how this person, the skills, the knowledge, the capabilities this person would bring in your inner circle, articulating the mutual value and shared goals of that. Number 2, expressing genuine, authentic appreciation. Listen, your contributions, the qualities, the trust you've built together leading up to this, right? These are the people that I'm asking to join my inner circle off the street. These are deep relationships that you either know or someone else has suggested and recommended. You're getting to know each other. You're spending quality time together. Layman's term is they get me, right? We have a lot in common. We have chemistry. You may have heard that. What they're really talking about is your aspirations are aligned. Your personality traits are aligned. 3, communicate your intent. Here's where I'm going. Here's how we're going to get there. Here's where I believe we could mutually be valuable to each other. 4, set, reset, recalibrate expectations. Here's what it's going to take. This is kind of what level of engagement, level of commitment that's kind of required, but be crystal clear. You heard me say this. Relationships go bad with misaligned expectations. So be crystal clear about what those expectations are. 5, emphasize mutual benefit. Ideally, this becomes mutually beneficial. You don't know that until you start asking. Here's what I need from your contribution in my inner circle. What can I do to help you? How can I support you? How can I raise the bar or elevate something you're trying to do? So when it's reciprocal, people will do more than just show up. They'll be all in. And that's exactly when your inner circle to be is all in. 5, emphasize mutual benefit. We talked about. 6, invite outcome-based collaboration. Collaboration for sake of collaboration is a waste of time. Make the end product, make the end result, make the outcome better, cheaper, faster, more impactful, more of a unique value prop. I talk about create opportunities to co-create a unique value together. I'm a big fan of that. 6, invite outcome-based collaboration. We talked about. 7, provide reassurance. Emphasize that it's a safe, trustworthy nature of the circle where openness is valued, right? So really make sure that, again, Amy Edmondson's work on psychological safety, really important here. 8, give them time to reflect. I ask someone, give them a runway, think about it, no guilt, no obligation. Let me know of any yellow, red flags in us doing this together, working closer together. Do you have the bandwidth? Do you have the interest? There's some other people that I want you to meet and get to know better, but give them that time to reflect. 9, start small and build. I've always said, think big, start small, find a way to scale. What I want is a world-class inner circle, right? And we'll talk about that in a future episode. What does that look like? I want to start small. I want to deepen existing connections through that consistent, meaningful touch cadence we talked about. Again, we're building this into the platform. But I want to gradually integrate them into a bigger role, more responsibility, and bring others into the fold. 10, show gratitude for their commitment. Make no mistake about it. This is a commitment of time, effort, resources. I am grateful. And sincerely, you got to be grateful for the commitment they're willing to make. And please don't assume, ask, how do I ensure that I don't outwear my welcome? I don't ask you for something you're not willing or able to do. Most of your relationships will tell you that. I can't do that today. That's not viable. I'm not willing to do that. I don't want to do that. All of these things should be, you need to listen louder and listen to what's being said. So I hope this episode, these 10 points have been useful to you. As a reminder, forum.avnia.com is our private online community. Left-hand side, join the Inner Circle group where all these notes from previous episodes are listed there. I'm live each Tuesday at noon Eastern. If I'm traveling, a lot of times I may record a session for you, and then we quickly turn around and turn these into podcasts. My podcast producer has been a little under the weather, but we're trying to get that resolved and get the previous episode on wherever you consume podcasts. I hope you'll subscribe. If you get value out of this, I hope you'll review it. Otherwise, make it a great week, and I look forward to seeing you at next time. We got some great guests coming up. General Tom Bostic is the former Chief of Army's U.S. Corps of Engineers. He'll be one of my guests. Paolo Dobell, phenomenal background experience. Bill Walsh. I'm getting other members of our Avnia Advisory Board to join us to talk about this. I've got some client executives that I'm interviewing that I'll bring to future episode. We're going to talk about signs in a future episode, signs that trusted relationship is no longer a good fit for your inner circle. Again, misaligned expectations, their lives changed. It's no longer a good fit. How do you politely move on? But I'm passionate about this topic. And like I said, I'm writing the next book. And the goal is to really bring some of these ideas to life through these podcasts, these live streams. On that note, I'm David Noor. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully this has been of useful interest, value to you. And I look forward to seeing you at the next episode. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.